So here's what it's all about. Years ago, I rescued, a decade ago probably, from the attic and other places when it was getting wet, are all of these things. You can see some of the writing on the boxes. That's the old 8mm. Here's slides, photos. These are all student work from the 70s. Tons of it. So that's what we're up against on that level, and we'll see it closer later. So there you have it. There's the first box of things that, that looks terrifying, doesn't it? Those are old technology. 8mm tapes. 8mm film.
Hi, we're here today to talk about some of the local murals in Santa Cruz County, and we have 4 local muralists here today. Immediately to my right is Oberdorfer, who completed the Loudon Nelson Community mural, which is right behind us. And to his right is Kent Karp and Bill Barita, and they're responsible for the upper crust mural as well as the irresponsible as well as the mural on the costume bank. And my name is Steve Howes, and I did a mural up at Capitola Elementary School in Capitola. One in front, one in back, and I did a couple up in San Francisco. So we're here. I think we'll start off with Jeff and let him tell you about how this mural was conceived and executed. Jeff?
Okay, well, about 2 years ago, the city got some funding to design and implement the park here at Laurel Center, and there's a number of neighborhood meetings, and they asked for people to submit ideas for things to happen in the park, so I came up with an idea for a mural. I live right down the block, and submitted it to the neighborhood group, and they immediately approved it. That was 2 years ago. Since that time, we've been through 15 different city and county commissions to get approval for the mural.
That's 15 different
15 different
boards or committees, so to speak. I think you might speak a little louder, Jeff.
Okay. And finally, after about 2 years, we had so much support for the mural that the city council lent us the money to go ahead and paint it. They lent us about $2,500, which we now have to raise. We're about half raised through different fundraising efforts. So on about, I think it was August 13th or 14th, 5 of us started painting this mural. It took us 10 weeks. And we finished October 16th and had a big neighborhood party October 17th.
And of course it was well covered in all the papers, so they did a good job.
It should be.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful.
And is the mural now totally completed?
Well, I don't think any mural is ever totally complete. You can always come back and do more on it. And we may do that. We may apply for some funding to come back and do some touch-ups, make some changes, but nothing major. I think the unique thing about murals is that you get constant community feedback about them, So as people give you comments, well, there's nothing wrong with coming back and adding some of those things on. That's just part of the process. I don't know if you've done that.
We did the same. Oh, yeah. We got a lot of research, and people would volunteer information as to how things were on the one that we did in the olden days, and they'd give us a lot of clues on how things had happened.
Yeah, it's very nice to get immediate feedback when you're doing something. Like you work in a studio and you shut the door and nobody sees you for a month, and you're working totally
in the
one-on-one in the black. And it's nice to be able to paint outdoors in the public's eye, with people walking by. And their suggestions, some of them are just great. Some of them, of course, aren't also, but it's the way people are, for sure. But it's a lot of fun to be able to work out and have people comment and actually help you out as you're working. It's the energy feedback is very satisfying.
We had people out here continuously. We had people come out and volunteer to do some of the painting, matter of fact. Somebody would come by for 2 or 3 hours at a time. But especially when Julie Heffernan started painting the portraits of neighborhood people, we have older people out here saying, well, that doesn't look like him yet, or, you know, the dress is a little bit wrong, or, you know, something like that. And then finally the people themselves would come out and they'd say, you know, I'd rather have a watch on my right hand, or, you know, my cane isn't shiny enough, and we'd fix that up right away, you know.
So the people in the painting are not composites anyway, they're actually
no, they're all people who live right in the neighborhood, or who go regularly to Laurel Center.
Which is a nice way of covering your mural too. And if you've got, so it doesn't get crap and graffiti on it, you know, if you've got people that are in the neighborhood and they care, you've got them on it, boy, it's going to be a lot more guarded.
Yeah, but we all know, muralists know that when you put a piece of a painting out in the public, you take the public's gratuitous contribution. I mean, in other words, vandalism is a real problem that muralists have to live with, and they just have to attempt to design around it.
It seems to be if it's good enough, nobody lays any stuff on it.
That's true. It's true.
If
like it's beautiful enough,
damn good example, you know.
Yeah. Well, I've done 2 murals, both of which had pretty intense neighborhood participation. One of them is in Cambridge, Massachusetts. It's been up for 4 years now. There's not any graffiti on it at all. In fact, if anybody ever came near it, the thing about having neighborhood people either participate in the design of it or be incorporated somehow like we did with portraits here is that it gives them a sense of turf right away. You know, like people who are on this mural own this park, you know, in a psychological and spatial sense. They won't let anybody touch it. Not only that, but since people know the people who are painted up there, they have no desire to touch it anyway. I don't think we'll ever have graffiti on this mural. I think that's one of the hardest things to explain to funding agencies. You know, and the first thing they say is, "Why should we give you $4,000 or $5,000 to paint a mural that's going to get vandalized?" Right. And they don't realize that 90% of the murals in the United States never have vandalism troubles.
Yeah, I guess the
It's
classic,
only blank walls. It's basically ugly walls that get their garbage.
Or road signs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. The classic example of that is Ed Carrillo's Palomar arcade mural, which was painted over because it was reputed to attract a lower element. And it itself was never vandalized, except very artistically in a couple of places. And once they painted it over, if you walk into Palomar Arcade now, it's filled with garbage, real garbage.
Well, yeah, the same thing's true at Live Oak School, where the Tortuga Patrol painted a mural. The principal, who really at first didn't like the mural, came up to Ray Romo and said, you know, it's the only wall in the entire school that has no graffiti. Maybe we should do some more murals.
Yeah.
Here, here. Here, here. Right.
Yeah.
So Jeff, you were going to say something about the possibility that you seem to think that murals are becoming an accepted part of Santa Cruz County, and it should be easier to get public walls and public funds to create murals for the community?
When I first moved here 3 years ago, murals was a dirty word. No city or county agency would fund a mural, and a lot of people had very negative attitudes about murals, as if they had some kind of political content, which they do in a way, but a political content people were very afraid of. And now, after 3 years here, the tides have really changed. There's been articles in newspapers giving guides to all the murals in Santa Cruz County.
Yes.
Especially now in North County, there's been a real big upsurge of murals just in the city of Santa Cruz. And people are starting to realize, I think, that murals go hand in hand with neighborhood preservation and just the quality of life on a neighborhood scale. And a lot of people in neighborhood groups are actually searching out muralists to do murals. I was even at one slideshow where a woman from the Downtown Neighbors Association showed 30 blank walls in Santa Cruz that she thinks should have murals.
Excellent.
Want to be more? Get bid on?
I think now it has to happen is that the city and county arts commissions have to start taking real assertive steps to get funding from the California Council of the Arts and the National Endowment to fund local muralists to do neighborhood murals. You know,
from what I read on the list of what the Arts Council funded, it was next to zip in terms of murals. I don't think there was one mural on there. It was for music and performing arts, basically, and nothing was.
You have to watch out for those actors.
Yeah, well, they're good. Yeah, they're good.
Neighborhood arts has always been funded less than performing arts.
Oh, yeah.
Or public art.
Yeah.
Or visual art. You know, private art. So that's a real problem.
But it's time. No, you live with it every day. It's not a transient thing like you go to a show or watch TV.
Well,
I mean, it's there. I mean, it's there to appreciate day and night whenever you want it.
And it's not only murals either. It's, you know, people in Live Oak and Rio Del Mar and Santa Cruz are building playgrounds, play structures, and we have the Tom Scribner sculpture, which is a
top of
major,
the line.
a major
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, how
Well,
that
the
was-
CAC has been good. They were good to
Yeah.
me. They gave me a grant for the surfer mural, and I think they at Carrillo just finished a $40,000 tile mural down on Olvera Street, Los Angeles.
Yeah.
With the CAC grant.
He finished that?
He finished that. It's installed. It's beautiful.
All right.
Yeah. Beautiful. Every single square, however, has been graffitied in some way.
It has?
Yeah.
What?
It was actually it's very artistic.
Oh, okay.
They used an airbrush, right?
Not
They
just
didn't use
regular
a spray
spray
can, they used an airbrush, cachet on it. Look at Yeah, we've had we've had no trouble with the graffiti on our murals that we've painted.
Yeah. Everyone.
You know,
There has
especially
been
like,
no problem with people putting stuff on it.
it's like I'm surprised even Upper Crust hasn't got graffitied yet. I haven't been there for a few weeks.
It
Hopefully
hasn't.
it hasn't.
It's not.
But I'm at a place where you enter town and leave town. Well, you can think of not just local people, but people from out of town or whatever.
How people would stop there and say, there's no place in Santa Cruz where you can stop. What do you stop by the city sign that says "Welcome to Santa Cruz"? They stop by this thing and take a picture of "Welcome to Santa Cruz"
Yeah, while we
by
were
the
painting,
mural.
people were
And hell,
taking
they'd
pictures.
take the area that we'd finished, get it in there and crop it that way, and they'd say, "This proves we're in Santa Cruz,"
So it's a nice
They
welcome.
seem to enjoy it.
While we were working, we couldn't work over the weekends because the tourists. They drove us off the ladder, asked questions, taking pictures, holding
We couldn't
the
get
kids up
anything
on the
done.
ladder while we were painting.
Can you move
all
your
that.
ladder and put our kid up there, and blah blah blah. Just finally we'd pack
we
it up
could-
at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
couldn't
Just say
paint
that's it.
on the weekends.
We just couldn't paint.
But it was fun. It was a lot of laughs for sure. It was funny.
So you funded the Upper Crust mural completely from private.
That was
funds then?
private
sources.
enterprise all the
That
way.
was the owner of the Upper Crust funded that.
Yeah.
Joe, and he wanted a mural and talked about it. And he got a good one.
Yeah, a friend of mine told me that a new pizza place had opened up and they needed a mural, and so Kent and I jumped right on it. Went over there and said, "You want a mural? What do you want?"
You're such a deal. We'll give
Give
you a
me a
mural.
mural.
Starting to specialize in pizza murals.
Yeah, right. King Kong on top of the.
Yeah, we had all sorts of ideas
throwing
floating around.
pizza. Yeah.
Oh, you got
We
had
have
all sorts of. But it was basically Joe's idea to have.
It's his concept on it.
Yeah.
We just worked on the visualization.
Have a
of it.
landscape of Santa Cruz and with important historical buildings and the sites and the boardwalk and all that incorporated in it. And it's sort of like a welcoming map too, other than that you are there tapping the service station. And so we worked with that idea. Plus we wanted to make it a map, but we also had to make it graphically suitable for such a wall like that. We're nowhere we're going to put roads and map signs and street signs on a wall like that. We'd still be there. We'd be going nuts. So we had to do something artistic.
That mural is really the only nice impression you get driving into Santa Cruz from any
No,
direction.
it's true. It's very visually, really very poor. The whole area.
But the area is really blighted. And here you are
Yeah.
doing
Well, that helps. When I drive down there, I get the feeling it helps.
Yeah, well, you're basically doing the city planning department's job, with a mural, and yet we have to beg for money to get funded to do a mural.
Beg. Bend over is more like it.
It's the family show.
Oh, sorry.
Family. Some of the kids are telling their parents what to do. Yeah, it's true. It's like we did a service in a way